everyone. Welcome back to FKS, Father Knows Something with Justin tonight. Back in the new year of 2025, we have had rest. I've had rest. I had a great Christmas season. You guys took off. You went to Minnesota.
Yes.
I looked the eve of New Year's. I looked down at my phone in the morning and I said, where is Justin and Morgan spending their New Year's Eve? And I looked in Minneapolis, couldn't find them. Went up to Duluth, couldn't find them. Because we have, Find My Friend. And then all of a sudden I just decided to press on the word Morgan, and it says they're in like frickin' Amsterdam. It was like, WTF, what are they doing there? I hope everyone had a great New Year's. I know that some of our viewers were hitting me up, and I was texting them back, and it was all kinds of fun.
We had a week off.
Yeah.
A rare week off.
And other than that, you want to kick it off? What's our theme tonight?
Well, we are going into dating to marry.
I love that.
So this isn't just a general, hey, my boyfriend did this, and I think maybe I should find new people now. I mean, maybe a little bit of that, but more it's like, how can we work through this? Or should we work through this? Because I'm in the era of dating to marry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to waste any more time.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, let's kick it off. Story number one.
Number one.
Hello,
everyone.
Hello.
My 25 female husband, 25 male, frequently forgets things I tell him or doesn't remember having entire conversations. Most recently, I baked a cake from scratch and made Christmas-themed cake pops. I worked on these for several hours and made enough to take to work and have enough left for a few family members. I wrapped them in clear treat bags and left one in a plain Ziploc bag for my husband to have. That night, I told him who I was giving them to and that I left him one in a Ziploc bag. I explained that I had exactly enough and no extras. The next day, he told me he ate one, but I noticed the Ziploc bag was still in the fridge.
He wasn't paying attention.
I asked if he was joking, but he was not. When I pointed out that we had a conversation about which one was his and how I had no extras, he didn't remember having the conversation, asked who they were for, and said sorry. I know this seems like a silly issue over a cake pop, but this happens many other times in different situations. Telling him a shirt can't be dried, that I have an appointment the next morning, etc. Sometimes when these things happen, he will eventually say he remembers the conversation, but just forgot in the moment or that it was an accident. When this happens, it makes me feel that he listens just to respond instead of listening to understand or remember. During these conversations, he will be responding and asking questions. I've talked to him about this on multiple occasions, but he says I want him to be 100% perfect. It happens so often that it can be multiple times a day, and I feel unseen and unheard. Ideal outcome: to get advice on how to resolve this, or to know if I'm just being difficult and emotional about this.
So he's saying that she wants him to be 100% perfect. Well, I mean, he should be listening to this to our conversation, because he himself should want to be 100% perfect.
Strive to be.
At least try. I do know that there was a 2.5 Men episode where Charlie was certainly saying that, he just, doesn't pay attention. And she was saying, Charlie, you don't pay attention. He goes, but I'm trying to pay attention. And, she would be, describing this thing that she needs. And he was like speaking in a whole different language in his brain. And he was just totally, disconnected.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's typical of guys. I really do try to listen. I really do try to digest and be able to spit back what my partner wants. And, my short-term memory is not as good as it used to be as I'm aging. But, maybe and I can't tell you if I was perfect. I do know that it is a stride that I try to do to be much better in the moment to listen to what my partner is saying, what they want.
Yeah.
And that's something that has to come from within him. So I would let him, certainly know that this is a problem and it's frustrating and it might be a deal breaker for you. And, I'm not threatening, but I'm letting you know that I find such frustration in it that if you can't really try to do better
Yeah.
or make some notes, you have, everyone carries these wonderful little phones.
Yes.
And they're quite interesting. And I know that when Morgan says, Dad, can you pick this up? Can you do that? And I'll say, Morgan, text me. Because I know that I'm going to forget it. I know that as much as I heard her say she wants to have popcorn and she wants to have towels and she wants this and that, I know I'm going to get there.
See, but that makes sense because that's like a list, right?
Right.
When it's multiple items. But on this, do you think you'd really want to have to go through the steps to text him and say, hey, remember, the cake pop in the Ziploc bag is yours to eat. Do not touch any others.
You shouldn't have to do that. I get that. But, he's obviously is not paying attention. And this is an important thing for her. And if maybe she needs to go, and maybe this is unfair to say, but in the stuff that is marked for other people, she should actually make a note. Dave, do not eat these. Yours is in the Ziploc bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she knows what she's dealing with.
Well, and I mean, you've been on the other side of this with certain clothes that can't be dried. You were famous for taking Morgan's stuff out that some of it could not be dried, putting it in the dryer, and then you'd have to deal with that one.
Right.
So,
and then I finally learned, do not touch Morgan's shit.
So the only thing for me here is I like that we are acting and asking this question over a pattern, not over a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he dried my clothes. I'm pissed. I'm doubting forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But, oh, there is a pattern of this happening over and over, and I'm sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we need to have one more, like you were saying, serious conversation. I know we've brought it up before. I know we talked about it. But maybe it's one more just like, hey, this is really affecting me, and it may start to affect us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I can do it forever.
And she's got to really decide this before she has that conversation. Is she willing to go part with this relationship, with this character flaw with this guy?
Yeah.
Because problem probably is that he might fix it for the short term. But it's like a disease that will just keep coming back. It's not like you can inoculate the guy.
Yeah.
It's part of his character. Or she's going to have to find a better way to communicate to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're dealing with.
Right. Well, it's a lot to put up with. I've had people in my life where you say things and then you almost need to be like, yeah, right? You got it? Just to reaffirm that they're actually got it. And then they still wouldn't have it some of the times. So I know it's a lot to deal with. Additional info, I specifically gave him the cake pop in the Ziploc bag because the coating had cracked. It still tasted the same, just not as pretty. He had also had one the night before. He does not seem to forget conversations with other people about work or his own hobbies.
Maybe you are defining so many honeydews for him that he's starting to turn a deaf ear to it. And you might have to find the way and recognize what you're doing, how you're doing it, so he doesn't just tune you out. You don't want to be tuned out in a relationship. You want to be definitely part of their tune in.
Yeah, I think you need to evaluate, does this happen, because probably the best communication method is just clear, calm, collected.
Mm-hmm.
If you find that you have to get to the point where you're raising your voice or having to deliver the message in a different way, then that's not right.
It isn't.
I don't know if it's so much in the delivery.
Maybe
for this.
Maybe it's when you approach him, rather than just say it in the kitchen calmly as a passing thing, you'll say, "Can we sit down a second?" And when you sit down, you'll say, "This is important to me. I made these. I have this for you." And that way that you actually were able to say, "This is important to me."
Yeah.
And Then when he fails, you can say, why would you want to hurt me when I told you this is important to me?
Yeah, I mean, you could try that next time.
And I would definitely try that because they have a different response. I mean, I remember going to people, going to friends' shops, and I'd say, hey, can I use your shop? Can I go do this? And the guy said, sure. And I would go there and make a mess, and I wouldn't, I might clean it up a little bit. But I went to my friend Elliot's shop one time, and I didn't clean it up apparently the way that he cleaned it. And he came to me and he says, Jerry, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure, Elliot. He goes, why do you want to hurt me?
Really?
No joke. And I said, I don't understand. He says, well, you asked me if you can cut that stuff and use the saw, and you did, but you left a mess. And then I had to go take my time. And I spent a half hour sweeping up and cleaning it all up. And I just want to know, why do you want to hurt me when I extend it to you? And I said, whoa.
Yeah, it really stuck with you.
It's 25 years later, and it's still right on top of my brain when I think of Elliot.
Well, there's a good strategy, maybe.
And I never went in that shop again. It did not really immaculately clean it up. Even if it was messy before I got there, that thing was spotless when I left.
Yeah.
So it's all the way you deliver the message sometimes that really makes that impact on that individual.
Right. And we'll try that after maybe having a conversation about the whole matter.
Mm-hmm.
See how that goes. And
do us a favor. Let us know what you did, and let us know how it worked.
Yeah.
And if anybody else has great suggestions for them, lay it out, because everyone reads these things.
That's right.
Okay, we're going to move to number 2.
Number 2. Hi, guys. I really need some advice and reassurance on an issue that nobody in my life can relate to. I've been dating a guy for a few months, and things are going well. He treats me like a princess and accepts every part of who I am. He has a son who is almost 2 years old. I enjoy spending time with both of them, and the kiddo is beyond adorable. As much as I enjoy him, I'm having trouble with this new dynamic in my life. I've never dated anyone with a kid before. I don't see it as a bad thing. I just don't know the rules and expectations. I'm far from being his stepmom, but I'm still around a lot. The kid's mom, boyfriend's ex-wife, isn't stoked about having a new woman in her son's life. I've met her twice, and both times she was drunk off her ass. I'm not sure she remembers either. She has made it known that she doesn't like that I'm around her son. He has let me know that he's not worried about her and that she has no room to be upset, as she is in a relationship and has another baby with her boyfriend. Something else I'm battling is that seeing pictures of the kid when he was a little baby makes me sad because I feel like I've missed so much. I'm also worried that if we continue in this relationship, that his side won't be excited for us because I'll be his second wife, and our first child won't be his first. I don't know how to navigate any of this, and I don't have anyone in my family who has been in any kind of similar situation. Any advice is really appreciated.
Well, I've been in all these situations.
Perfect.
And I will tell you that your role is simply to be there for your lover, your boyfriend, no matter if he becomes a husband or not. And you're also there to be there as an adult or someone for that child. It doesn't mean you have to say, I'm your stepmommy. Because the kids on their own find out what they're going to call you and what that relationship is. When I met Matthew, he was 5. Morgan wasn't born yet. Morgan came, 3 years later. And Morgan didn't come from me, as everyone, knows, but that doesn't mean that if you're a new listener that you didn't know that. I was there for pregnancy. I was there after birth. And then, she said, what are you going to do if Morgan starts calling you dad? And I said, I will be Morgan's dad as long as Morgan wants me as her dad.
Yeah.
And I'm Matthew's male figure in whatever way he wants to have me fit into his life that way. I'm not pushing anything on him. And it was more difficult because he was already, had a male figure in his life. And now it was in his mind, it was betraying the other male figure. So he didn't know how to digest it all.
Yep.
Which means it took a lot of patience. But now you're an adult. You're in a relationship as an adult relationship with somebody. So you have to really be patient and realize that the kids are innocent. And the fact that it's you, if you guys get married or you have babies, it won't be as first, doesn't matter. Every child is individual. They're all different, and you're going to have your own relationship with these kids as they get their own personality and they interact with you. The fact that you're there when he's 2, you're perfect. There's no issue here.
Yeah.
Just be you, be there, be loving, be supportive, be engaged. And it's not about who can discipline the child. It's some of these people get this thing. It's who disciplines the child. You don't just, it's not, it's really who engages with the child, who brings love and who brings understanding and shares and has fun with them. And
Right.
that's what being a parent is in teaching. It's all of the above, everything listed, but not limited to what's listed. It could be every aspect. When that child is sick and has a sniffle or doesn't feel well, and she says, I don't feel well, and you're there to help make sure that there's chicken soup, or you're making sure that she's warm or he's warm, and you're making sure that there's things going on. That's being a parent. That's being an adult impact in that in all those children's life. If it's the first one, the second one, the third one.
Yeah.
And biological connection is really it's really not part of it. That's something that people put out. Everyone else puts on board. I never did. I have 3 children. They're all from different biological fathers, and they're all my kids. As far as I'm concerned, they're not a half brother or a half sister. They are brother and sister in the story. I don't want to hear about half brother, half this or that.
Yeah.
Bullshit. That was not allowed in our home. We are a family. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Well, as far as the concerns of his family, like you said, them not being excited and that kind of thing, I think if they love and support him, life happens. They will be excited.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another big wedding they get to go to, and any more grandkids, I don't think they're going to be upset.
Mm-hmm.
For at least me and my life and my experience, I don't live in a world where, the firstborn, it's the firstborn child, and then all the rest are just like, yeah, whatever. It's every child is special, and every child has their place. And it, of course, there's things about being the youngest or the oldest or the middle child and how you grow up and that, but not in terms of anyone being more, loved or any of that. But I'm curious what you think about dealing with the ex-wife, because our ideal outcome is for everyone to be happy, including boyfriend's ex-wife, and to keep dating this wonderful man.
You can't control ex-wife. She's got she's got her own alcohol problems, obviously. She's got other shit going on. And what will happen with the kids is the kids figure it out. You don't even have to point it out to them. They are much more aware than you will ever be. Now, you're an only child.
Yes.
I do know that you have a person in your life who's like your sister, your cousin.
Yes.
And you guys have that real special connection. Now, you've came into our family, and you see me with 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you see us any different than full brother and sister, full kids. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, my kids have other biological parents. And some of my kids have those relationships with them, and some of them don't. But I never was the one to get involved and point things out and, try to go overboard with them. I know that Matthew's father, I have 0 relationship. Morgan's dad, I have 0 relationship with.
Yeah.
And Taylor's dad, I have a relationship with. When we see each other, we respect each other as parents. We don't try to compete. I know that he has his relationship. I respect the relationship. I've always been happy about the relationship, and I'm happy with my own relationship with my son.
Yeah.
So it's not this tug of war. Who's my son going to love more?
Yeah.
It's simply be mature.
Yeah.
Don't involve yourself in this race, for space. It's just not worth it.
Well, and don't let anything she does change your dynamic with him or his son.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he's happy with you and you're fitting it right into their new picture like a
Mhm.
puzzle piece, then, I mean, she's not irrelevant, but her being upset is a little bit irrelevant because he's moving on to a happy new life and kids coming right along with him.
Mhm.
So if you're there for the kid and you and him have a happy, healthy relationship, then any concern of hers doesn't need to affect you.
I find that it's a losing proposition for everybody when they get involved in these battles between these spouses. I have witnessed it with other relationships that I've had that I mean, I we didn't work out for whatever our reasons. Then I watched them go on with their lives and they meet people with kids or they did this and they've never had children before and you know, there's a lot of dynamic that can be negative and there could be battling because the mother on the other side, behaves this way with the husband. And all of a sudden, you know, the new woman becomes the protector of the husband from the old woman. Let him protect himself. Don't you try to put yourself in the middle of all that. Sometimes it's just, there's no winner.
Yeah. When you know things are going to be messy for a bit. So just ride the wave. If this guy is worth it, ride the wave and, over time, everything settles down.
Yeah. He's going to have to deal with his own dynamic with his ex. And the more you stick yourself in the middle of all that, it gets like quicksand. It gets mucky.
Yeah.
It just pulls you down.
Yeah.
So I would stay far away from that behavior and, let him battle it. He's the one that married her and he got a divorce.
Yeah.
And if you could at all just say, something, honey, I love you, but I'm going to stay out of that dynamic and you just deal with the way you can. It will probably be better for you in your relationship.
Yeah.
All right. Can we roll on to number 3?
Number 3.
Here we are.
The show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What do you want your 2025 story to be? I know for me, I want this to be a big year, but also a healthy year. One where I don't let my stress or burnout or bad coping strategies take me down, which is why therapy is going to be my editorial partner this year. And if you feel like you need a little extra support, it could be yours too. I have loved online therapy in the past. The convenience of it all, being able to take a session from my car, from my bed, wherever, has been so helpful, especially when I lack the motivation because of burnout. And BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. And you can have access to a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. And you can switch therapists at any time at no extra cost. So important. So write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/FKS to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/FKS.
Number 3.
Number 3?
Is that number
You sure?
No.
You sure? Yeah, it's number 3.
Okay.
How do I tell my long-term boyfriend I don't want his late grandmother's engagement ring? Hi, Dad, Morgan, and Justin. I've been listening to THT pretty much since the start and joined FKS a little late, but also been here for a while. I love both of these podcasts. This will be long as I know Dad needs backstory. Sorry in advance for Justin or Morgan reading this. Let's get into it. I am 23, about to be 24 female, have been dating my boyfriend 24 male for almost 8 years. We have had many discussions over the years about marriage, but ultimately we were never in a place to get married. We began dating in high school, but when I went to college, we did long distance for 4 years. After college, I'd moved back to our hometown as he was still doing school and finding a good job. In the last year, I was able to get my dream job, and he got a very good job making double the amount he was making at his old job. Prior to going to family holidays, I asked again what we were waiting on. I have felt ready for a while, but he had personal issues he wanted to fix. To give you context, I was raised in a not-so-good household growing up and moved away from them, leaving me with trauma. I have mostly worked through it. He was raised in a not-so-good household as well that gave him trauma too. I won't go into specifics as we have friends and family who listen to the podcast. He stated that before getting married, he wanted to work through more of his trauma as he feels like he wants to be strong for not only me, but our future kids as well. I understand completely though I love him unconditionally as he does me. Okay, on to the main portion. During a conversation shortly after a family Christmas, we had a friend mediate an argument we had about marriage and how I feel it is the next step before anything else large, like buying a house. With our friend's help, both of us stepped back and understood the other's point of view, and boyfriend did say he would want to get married soon. Great. We have come to an understanding. I am ready for it before anything else, and he understands why I need that commitment before larger plans. Now, time for more backstory. About 1 to 2 years ago, we had the same convo. He wasn't ready. I had just finished college, and he had not yet had this stable job. He mentioned he wanted to use his grandmother's ring as I was the only girlfriend that had met her. Boyfriend is the oldest, and grandma was a large part of his life. I loved his grandma, who sadly passed away several years ago. Since then, he has not been able to find her ring. No family member has it, and it seems to be lost. At this point, I feel like we are waiting for it to appear magically, but I want us to take the next step, and it seems he does too. How do I tell my boyfriend I don't want his late grandmother's ring? I am a girl who wants to see and pick out a general idea of what I want on my hand for the rest of my life, and I've not seen or remember what it looks like on top of it being lost for 3+ years. I wouldn't mind if he used the ring during the proposal and picked out a new one. Mind you, I preferred cheaper stones for us to have forever. Now I feel like I want to tell him to just get a ring. We are ready, and the other is lost. For the first time, it seems we are together on the marriage idea, and the time feels right. We want to start a family and buy a home, but I need his commitment first. I struggle to communicate sometimes, and I want to say it nicely. Please help.
You know what the best thing about a ring is?
What?
The best thing about a ring and jewels, stones and gold or silver or platinum, the metal all melts. You can make that metal any shape you want. The stones all pop out. You can redefine how you want to use them and which ones you want to use, any which way you can. Before or after you find the ring. Because if he never finds the ring, is he going to wait till you're 96 years old before this ring that has somehow disappeared? Maybe it's on grandma's finger still. We don't know where it is. But if it does show up, we can always add or change or do something with your ring. So you could say, honey, I get the importance of grandma's ring, but it doesn't have to be in the configuration that grandma had it. We can take stones from that ring, add it into a different piece of jewel or a different piece of gold or silver, whatever, or platinum, whatever it was made from.
Yeah.
Or we can take that metal, if we find it, melt it down, and we can do something with it. I'm not ever going to say we shouldn't have grandma's ring and material and stones, but we'll implement it into another piece of jewelry if we can't find it.
Yeah.
Or we can add a stone into this other piece. We'll leave a little pocket that we can literally lift one stone out and we can put something else in to tie it all together.
Yeah.
That's the compromise. We're not waiting to find grandma's ring. We can move on and go move right now and do and do something that we want to do. But if we find grandma's ring, we'll implement it. You don't have to worry, honey. I would love that.
Yeah. Jewelry is really tough because even if grandma's ring was right here in his hand, regardless, you don't want to use that ring forever. It's not much different than handing down a wedding dress. Well, there's a lot of weight put on. Someone has to use that dress. And I know people are doing cool ways now where they're altering the dress and making it more their style, but
same thing with a ring.
But if they don't want to use it, then they don't want to use it. And you don't want to force that on someone. You also don't want to, have the boyfriend in this case be like, oh, well, you don't want my grandma's ring. Well, then I'm reevaluating everything. It's not based on the ring. Yes, you want, the person who's wearing it to have what they want. But besides that, it's more what the ring represents.
Right.
So are we going to get married or are we not? Right? So let's do it or let's not. Ideal outcome: for the ring to magically appear soon, and he uses that to propose, but ultimately I would like a new ring he picks out from my general ideas. Or just getting a new ring as the other is lost.
Just remember again, gold melts. And once you design your ring, they can take that gold and pour it into that wax. And you can have grandma's gold or grandma's silver or their part of it. And you can pull, if not all the stones, one stone or a certain part to tie it in.
It's definitely an option.
I have done this. And it has really worked well by just taking a stone. I had a bracelet that was my dad's mom's and had diamonds on it. And I took the diamonds out of her ring and I put it in there.
Yeah.
And it was nice that I had my grandmother's stones in this belt buckle diamond bracelet I used to have. I lost it. It was too bad because the sad part was I lost grandma's stones.
Yeah, that's tough. That's why jewelry is tough.
Jewelry is tough, but you can always make it your piece where part of it came from the roots, no different than part of him came from grandma.
Yes, but I'm saying I don't think the ring is the main problem here.
No, go get a ring.
The problem is, are we getting married or are we not?
Right.
Are we taking this next step? Additional info: he's wanting to buy a house in the next year. During our last conversation, I said I can't do it without legally being married.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also a fast-moving thing. So what we're coming to is,
go get a ring.
Ring or not, are we doing this?
Yeah.
That's the conversation that needs to happen. I know you've had, this last big one pretty recently with a friend kind of serving as a mediator, but really it's yes or no.
Right. And I said that if you can't find the ring, go get a ring. And if you find it, we can add it to the other ring. We can make modifications later. That's what jewelers do.
Because the ring to me feels like another convenient excuse to keep delaying this.
Right. Go get a ring.
It's tough. We've had a lot of stories about guys dragging their feet and not being able to just finally say yes, do it, move forward, propose.
Pull the trigger, go get that sucker in his pocket and let's make it happen.
And so, now that you're on this fast-moving timeline, if this is really what he wants, it's gonna happen one way or the other soon.
And if it doesn't happen, then you can move on. If he really wants to marry you, he'll knock it out.
Yeah.
Go get it done.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on.
Another one of this week's partners is Rosetta Stone. We're kicking off 2025. But if you look back at previous years, what resolutions have you set? What ones have you loved and continued with? And what do you want to set for this year? If you don't have one, what about learning a new language? Think about how much that could enrich your life, your travels, your communication with your neighbor even. So if you want to add learning a new language as a resolution, Rosetta Stone is going to be the partner to help you do it. Rosetta Stone is the most trusted language learning app available on desktop or as an app, and it truly immerses you in the language that you want to learn. I am super excited to try Rosetta Stone this year. I've wanted to keep up with my Spanish as much as I can, but I'm just not that patient, which is why I love Rosetta Stone. They have fast language acquisition, and because Rosetta Stone immerses you in so many ways, you're going to pick it up a lot quicker. And it's actually designed for long-term retention, which is what we all want if we're going to work hard to learn a new language, right? So start the new year off with a resolution you can reach. Today, Father Knows Something listeners can take advantage of this Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/FKS. That's 50% off, unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/FKS today.
Number four.
Let's
go.
Hi all.
Hi all.
Love both THT and Father Knows. Here's the background. I'm 24 years old, and when I was around 14, I started dating this guy, let's call him John, until I was 17. He was like my high school sweetheart. We broke up, but somehow John and I ended up back together when I was 19. It didn't work out, and I eventually started dating another guy and having my daughter. My relationship with my child's father made me unhappy, and I ended it in the beginning of 2023.
Okay.
On to the real issue. John and I somehow always reconnect at least once every 1 to 2 years. It's like every time I become single, a bell rings in his mind and he reaches out to me, telling me that I'm the girl who got away, that he wishes we could be together, etc. I've never stopped thinking about him, and he has never stopped thinking about me. It feels like the universe always conspires to bring us together.
That universe.
I feel like he's had me wrapped around his finger. Like when he's around, I can't function correctly. When he randomly pops back into my life, it's like my life stops and he becomes the center of my universe. And some people I've shared this with have said, maybe you're in love, but my gut tells me this isn't love. There are many deal breakers for me in him that I would absolutely never let slide with anyone else, like the fact he has 5 kids. I don't mind children. I have one, but 5 is a lot for me when we're only 24 and 26. The fact he's pretty much tied down to the city we live in until his kids grow up, and I have no intentions of living in our city in the next 5 years. His communication skills are pretty mid, and having good communication skills means a lot to me in a relationship. So many red flags, but my mind doesn't seem to get over him, and I deep down want to. I don't want to keep circling back to John, but no matter how many times I block him for even years at a time, I circle back to him in my mind and I want to open myself up to something new. I feel like I don't really know what I like because I've never really dated. It has always been me and John or me and my daughter's dad. What are your thoughts on this? Is this what being in love, like everyone else keeps telling me, feels like? Is this my mind wrapping around what's familiar out of fear? How do I get over someone when it seems like time hasn't healed anything?
Well, I think you have to really decide if you want to really get healed first and then see what happens going along. Maybe you take your child and you move and you can see if you can really go on with your life. And I mean, you're obviously in an environment in a town that's small enough that you guys keep circling back and circling back. And if that's what you want to do and you want to have a life with this guy, but it sounds like there are things that disturb you that you don't. And you're together every 2 years. You guys kind of get back together. It sounds like he has a child. Next thing I know is he breaks up. I don't know if these are with different women, the same woman. No concept.
Don't know.
We don't know. But if you really want to be free, and you don't want to keep having this thing bump you in front of you, then maybe you just need to move out of the area.
Yeah.
And go somewhere different and get a fresh start. I mean, you're young enough for a fresh start.
Yeah.
You're in a perfect place for it.
I think, honestly, I feel like you can fresh start at any time.
Yeah.
You really can. I know it gets harder as you get older, but
look, I just did a fresh start. I'm 67, fresh start.
Yeah, but you're talking big fresh start. You're talking...
Well, either way, if she's looking at a different person, it's a fresh start.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been stuck like this on someone.
I have been.
I know someone that has, and it's a person we've worked with a lot, and they would come into the studio and just break down all the time this was over the course of years. And we wrote many songs about it, but it just never seemed to progress. It always felt like they were stuck, and they'd get a little bit better and then fall back into it and then be brokenhearted. And I know over the course of the last maybe 6 months, they've seemed to really come back. And I think it's because they've met new people and they finally started to be able to distance themselves and get through that. So maybe physically moving is one of the best options.
I did. I mean, I had a thing with Morgan's mom. We kept going back in circles and, couldn't break away the pattern. And I finally just said, we're not succeeding. We're crossing boundaries. And if we can't live within our boundaries of going on with our lives, then I need to make a bigger boundary. And
True.
I said, it's going to be an 1,800-mile boundary.
Yeah.
And bingo, that worked.
And that goes right along with the ideal outcome. I would like to move on, push this chapter of my life behind me, open myself up to something new, and have new experiences with new people.
Yep. And
Sounds like moving.
If you can't do it while you're in the same town, you're going to have to pick it up and leave.
Well, and it kind of goes along with what she was saying, that she doesn't want to live in the city living in our city in the next 5 years. So I'm curious, are you still there? Have you left yet? Or is that kind of the next best step here if you're already mentioning it in the post? Additional info, I have a history of never really letting myself be single. It's like when I am single, very quickly John becomes my go-to, which is why I'm starting to think it's not me being in love. Being single makes me uncomfortable, and I know that John will ease my discomfort.
That's on you. That's on you. You have to be, in order for you to be successful in a relationship, you have to be good by yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be solid. You have to be your own confidence. You can't have that insecurity. You can't be worried if you're going to have someone at home that night with you.
Right.
You got to be able to look the fact that, that person, makes life fun.
Yeah.
But you can also have fun without them as well. You have other things going on. It's nice to have somebody to be a part of your life. But most of my nights are by myself. And I'm totally fine with it. I find things to do. And if I find someone that means something, that wants to spend time with me and I want to spend time with them, all the better.
Yeah. And I think maybe that is something to really focus on, whether you're moving away or not, is building a stronger foundation of independence. Being on your own.
Yeah.
Spending time on your own. It's hard in the beginning, but friends, family, your child. And with all that, it's just really working through that. Maybe therapy can play a part in helping you move past Mr. John.
Yeah. I mean, I broke up with Amy, 11 months, 10 months ago in that area. And for 8 months, I didn't go out with anybody. I just stayed away and worked on my work, worked on the podcast with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did my own, went home, cooked my own dinners, did everything, cleaned up my house.
Yes.
There were things I just did that had involved nobody else until I knew that everything was really in the past for me.
Yeah.
That I wasn't just rebounding to put someone in my life just because I wanted someone in my life. That when I finally get someone in my life, they will be in my life because they are that special person.
Right. Well, I think having done that, any relationship you find going forward will be that much stronger.
Absolutely. Healthier.
Because you've gotten yourself to be whole again.
Yeah.
And then two wholes can come together instead of, it getting messy.
No, I will let you guys know that being healthy is the best way to go forward. It really is. Make yourself that you are comfortable within yourself, that you don't need anybody in your life. Doesn't mean you don't want someone to be a part of your life, but you don't have to have it to function.
Yeah.
And you will be stronger. You'll have a healthier relationship with the next person.
Yeah.
And they'll appreciate it. The next person will, because they're not going to have to deal with any of your muck. And that's the last thing you want someone to have to go deal with is muck. Get rid of all the muck. Then start.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to move on to number 5.
Number 5.
Let's go. Is this
Grand finale?
Grand finale.
Another one of this week's partners is Dipsy. Holidays took it out of me. There's lots of bugs going around. And one way I'm looking after myself, practicing some good self-care, is with Dipsy. I don't have the strength to even hold up a book right now. This microphone is challenging. So having Dipsy, which has thousands of spicy audiobooks available at my fingertips, has been so nice to get through this sickness. And there's so many other times you're going to love Dipsy. Cleaning your house, driving, whatever it is. You're going to find whatever you're looking for on Dipsy. From rugged cowboys to Scottish sailors, Fey royalty, god of the underworld, all sorts of characters, all amazing narrators, and top-tier writing. And you'll never get bored because new chapters are released every week. I know there's so many of you out there that love ACOTAR and a bunch of other romance books. Give Dipsy a try. You are not going to be disappointed. For listeners of the show, Dipsy is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/FKS. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to dipseastories.com/FKS. dipsystories.com/FKS.
I think we, for the first episode of 2025, I think we need to buckle up.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, kids. For you that never saw the buckle up, that means that he's got a big story and we got to be, this is like going on a rocket launch or in a race car when the car leaves the pavement and it goes airborne, that
you need to stay strapped.
We're strapping down. Oh, I'll put the head one on. Oh, my helmet.
Good. Wow.
I'm locked.
You're not going
in.
anywhere.
I'm not going over. Let's catch some air on this thing.
All right. Have you heard of OnlyFans?
OnlyFans?
Yes. OnlyFans is essentially a site where people can upload not always pornographic content, but pictures and other content that people can pay to access. Kind of like a Patreon.
Okay.
Okay. Hello. This all just came out, and I, 28 female, am completely lost. I've been dating this guy for a year, and he was, until tonight, someone I planned on marrying.
Until tonight.
Tonight, I got some screenshots from a close family member showing my little sister, accusing him of being creepy and asking for nudes and following her OnlyFans. She said that he kept messaging her and was trying to send her stuff. I talked to my boyfriend about it, and he said that my sister had randomly sent him a ton of nudes and that he was responding. Then she sent him her OnlyFans link, and he followed for a bit, but then unsubscribed. He said that after that, my sister's boyfriend messaged him and sent screenshots of those messages. And after that, her boyfriend started asking for money, saying he would send the messages to everyone otherwise. My boyfriend said that he blocked them both after that and stopped sending the money. This all apparently happened in the summertime, probably pretty close to after they met, and no one told me anything until literally today. Ideal outcome: some clarity on which relationship will end up being destroyed, if not both. Additional info: my sister's boyfriend has absolutely shown himself to be untrustworthy, so I could see what my boyfriend is saying being true. I have seen my sister do shady things and cause a lot of drama in other situations, so it just wouldn't totally shock me. However, my boyfriend kept this from me for half a year and was not the one who ended up coming clean about it. He got caught. He is saying that if I choose to move forward with that, we will have full access to each other's phones and be fully open. However, I don't know how trust could be rebuilt after all of this. We are more open, and I'm aware that he follows other OnlyFans accounts and stuff like that, but my sister is an obvious, really big line.
Did he have a relationship with the little sister before he had a relationship with her?
I don't think so.
And was he having this OnlyFan relationship with the little sister before he dated her? Or is it why he's dating her? Because I'm uncertain about a lot of this stuff.
Well, there's a lot of pieces missing. Essentially, I feel like what we are commenting on is the fact that our writer here, there's some situation between boyfriend and her little sister. Either he was the one going in and saying, hey, send me nudes, this and that. I'm following your OnlyFans and this and whatever. The other side of the coin is all of a sudden the sister is the one who all of a sudden just spammed him with nudes, had him follow the OnlyFans, and then the boyfriend is taking screenshots from all this, the sister's boyfriend.
It's all slime. I mean,
and
the whole
blackmailing him.
Yeah, the whole thing is slime. I mean, bottom line is, if I'm dating somebody and I'm in a relationship, she knows what I'm up to, period. If I'm into kink and I'm into looking at other naked women, I'm going to tell her point blank, I'm into other naked women. And if you're okay with that, great. But otherwise, it's the guy's sliming behind the back and he's not to be trusted. So I'm not into this whole relationship in the first place. I mean, I got issues all over the place. There's flags every which way. And the fact that you're writing us, your flags are all, but your flags are waving tall.
Yeah.
So I think you should just trust your own judgment and go with your own feelings. This doesn't work for me, and get rid of all of them.
I'm just very curious. I wish we could have a conversation, such as like in a group tea, to ask our writer here, what's your gut feeling? Are you truly on the fence? Do you think your sister's trying to sabotage your relationship, or
he bought into it. He's opening the shit.
right?
He's looking. He didn't come to her and say, look, your little sister's sending me this shit. Can you call her up and tell her to cut? I mean, I've tried to tell them to shut the fuck up. They're trying to blackmail me. Why don't you call him and say, don't try to blackmail him, but quit sending him the shit. He's not interested.
Right.
I mean, that's the common sense thing here. So the fact that he didn't go to her for the assist.
Even if he wasn't the initiator.
Right. So I believe he is guilty. He is looking at the crap.
On either way.
And he's looking at other shit.
Yeah.
Go look at his credit card. You said that he pays for it? It's for pay?
It is.
Go look for the charges.
And then the other thing, I get confused on the way this is written, but it says, my boyfriend said that he blocked them both after that and stopped sending the money. So was he, for a time,
sending money
to the little sister and the boyfriend to keep their mouths shut?
Apparently. Sounds that way to me. The whole thing sounds that the guy's guilty, period. I'm going to go back to I'm going to go back to a conversation of years ago. It has nothing to do with this. It has to do with my brother-in-law, who was a detective.
Okay.
He was a retired cop. He became a detective. People would come to him and say, follow my wife.
Yes.
Follow my husband. And he says, no. and they go, what do you mean no? We want to pay you. And he goes, if you think they're doing it, they probably are. Don't give me your money. I'm not interested in it. So go back to your judgment. Go back to your radar. If your radar is telling you something's fucked up here, go find someone that you're not going to have your radar triggering all over the place with this slime. This whole conversation is nothing but dysfunction, every which way but loose. Unless you guys are all into that stuff and you say, right on board, I'd like to go check out your sister. I think it's twisted. It's the most twisted fucking thing that I'd ever heard. But if you guys are into it and everyone agrees to it.
They're not, though. She's saying that's a big line, right?
Right. So my answer is get rid of dump DDD. It's all bullshit.
And I'm wondering if the ideal outcome, some clarity on which relationship will end up being destroyed. Are we talking about little sister and her boyfriend and you and yours? Or it's a little bit unclear.
The guy that you're with apparently was being blackmailed. He got himself in that blackmail situation somehow. And he didn't come...
By not being clear if he wasn't guilty.
Well, he didn't come clean to you in the beginning.
Right.
There's the problem.
Which makes me feel like my gut feeling with just this little bit of info is just that he was the initiator early on. Even though your sister's very untrustworthy and she could be sabotaging things, for him to not come clean right away feels as though, well, it's actually no different either way. He either was the one that subscribed and was asking for these things, or she sent them and he still didn't say anything. So either way, he was still into it. And that's a problem.
I got a better question. Let's, are you okay in your own mind? Ask yourself this. I am okay that he is going to this site and he's checking out naked women for pay. I'm cool with it. If you are cool with it, hey, great. If you are not cool with that, then he's been doing it anyways. Dump the dude and go find yourself a guy that's not doing that shit.
I will say it sounds like, because they say right at the end, we are more open and I'm aware he follows other OnlyFans accounts. The sister is the line we're crossing. And we know there was some interaction there, so we've crossed the line. We're there. Now, how do you respond?
How do I respond?
No, how does she respond is what I'm saying.
She responds by just saying, my sister is not acceptable. There's a boundary. We end it there. And we're open. And if you want to go, I mean, I'm having a tough time just on the whole fucking thing.
That's why you're seatbelted.
Yeah, you're definitely. And it's holding me in. I mean, there are people out there. I mean, if you're okay with him looking at other women and doing all this shit and you're fine with it, then he should be able to be open with you point blank with the whole thing. And if you want to go give it a shot under those rules, go knock yourself out. Give it the shot. End of story. But I don't want to hear anything more about the sister. If you find it, then he's done. Personally, I think that you can find people today that will be more attentive to want to give their love and lust to you than to images that are online, and take good money that they could be buying you flowers and doing things for you and building your home and building your family than fucking wasting it doing this other crap. But that's up to you.
Say it how it really is.
That's it. Now I have another question for people to write in and let us know.
Sure.
Why you were gone. I said, I'm going to be doing some traveling in the next few months. And do we want to do a Father Knows show or something with Father Knows for people that are out there? And you guys got back to me and you said, maybe we just let them know that I'm going to be in a town. And if anybody wants to stop in, we can meet, somewhere. And then you guys can have a personal visit, and I'll be there available to talk to you guys in person.
Father Knows meetup.
Father Knows meetup. So Father's going to be going probably to the East Coast, I believe either Connecticut or New York.
Okay.
And Father is also going to be in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
So the question is, if I'm just trying to get an idea, how many of you are out there would want to, plan on coming down, hanging out one evening? So I have an idea of how big of a venue that I need to be at, as far as a bar or a restaurant or a place that we can actually meet and talk and get to know one another.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not looking for cost. We're not going to charge for this. We just really want to see how many people are really going to be around. So I have an idea.
Yeah.
So those are the two cities. It'll be either in New York or just right outside Hartford, Connecticut. Or they'll be Atlanta, Georgia for sure.
Okay.
I know I'm going to be down in Atlanta. So let us know. And there you go.
Very good. All right. Well, that concludes first one for the new year.
So that's it for this night's show. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.